versus Jacobs was a boxing match, high-profile boxing match that took place this past week. Call in about that. It doesn't matter, man. We just want to hear your voice, especially the new callers. So hit us up at any point during the show. I read off the times, and you see that really these next 30 minutes are pretty wide open. All right, let's start off with some pretty big news. Daniel Cormier, the UFC heavyweight champion. We heard during the broadcast of the UFC Ottawa show that officially he will be defending his UFC belt versus, I almost said Sergey Spivak, Stipe Miocic, the former UFC heavyweight champion. By the time they fight, it'll be about a year removed from when Daniel Cormier defeated Stipe Miocic. Miocic was going for his fourth title defense, and Daniel Cormier knocked him out in the first round. And then if you'll recall, Brock Lesnar stormed the octagon. It was a little bit of a pushing match. DC was in heaven, man. He's a big pro wrestling fan, so he loved it. Not only did he love that, he loved the fact that his next title defense at that particular moment became Brock Lesnar. Why? Because that is a huge pay-per-view. And world champions in the UFC, well, they don't really call them world champions, but champions, undisputed champions, actually all champions in the UFC get what's called a pay-per-view cut. And the more pay-per-views that are sold, the more lucrative it is for you. So DC knew, wait, this bad boy could go about $1 million. I can make a lot of fight in what could be my last fight before I retire. Now, this was last year, and remember, he had given himself a retirement date of like March 20, 2019, because that's when he was going to turn 40. Well, that came and went, and it looks like he still wants to fight. A back injury prevented him from really doing anything past the Derek Lewis fight, and now the Brock Lesnar fight is off. So he will be defending Stipe Miocic on August 17th at UFC, I think it's called 241. So he did the Ariel Helwani show on ESPN, and he talked more about other stuff than really that fight, and we have some cuts from that. Don't we, guys?
I think we're getting those ready right now.
Okay, we're getting those ready right now. But I don't think I'd have to give you too many guesses as far as like, well, what other topic do you think he broached? I don't think I'd have to give even the most novice fan. All right, you get 3 guesses. I think people could pretty much circle back and figure out what the heck he was talking about. But as we get that together, let me tell you about one other thing that's DC related, and then we'll come back to it. DC, HBO, and I hear Jim Lampley, or when I sit down and used to hear on Showtime Sports, Mauro Ranallo. It was just a different crew, different voices. And there was different camera angles. And all that could be fresh, and maybe I need to get used to it. And I enjoyed some of it. But still, it's all new to me. And so DC wasn't the biggest fan of the call of those fights. And Sergio Mora, who was part of that crew, had some very interesting things to say back to Daniel Cormier. Did you catch that, Goes?
I did. And
he was on At the Fights. And he also had a tweet in relation to all this. But go ahead.
Where do you sit on it? Is it boys will be boys? Were one of them out of line? I mean, I know that people can be sensitive in this new online age where you get criticism. It's hard to take it. I thought it was different. I don't want to say it was bad, but I just thought it felt different. Mora pushed back, and then I thought DC's return was actually pretty good.
It was. And here's how it broke down. DC first said, Brian Kenny and Sergio Mora really suck. To the point. Canelo won, but Danny fought a good fight, man. What WTF? What the fuck? They ruined the fight. Sergio Mora fires back. This is all on Twitter. DC is at DC_MMA. Sergio Mora is at the Latin Snake _. Sergio Mora says, sorry you thought I sucked, champ. I think your striking sucks. Let me work with you so at Johnny Bones doesn't kick your ass for a 3rd straight time.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he was out of line.
I don't either, because
DC was to the point and said, you suck. Yeah, they sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he fired back. DC fires back. Now, look, this could have been a private message, or this could have been a direct message. This could have been just under the timeline, but instead DC decided to retweet it And, of course, the retweet includes the part about him getting his ass kicked for the third time by Johnny Bones. He writes, "Pretty good, Serge. So let me retweet that so people can actually see it. You have 10,000 followers. We can't waste good material, can we? You sure didn't have any last night during the fight." So he reiterates about the good material. He reiterates that he didn't appreciate his call of the fight. And he lets them know that, hey, I'm not hiding from this. Every time Daniel Cormier has to hear something about the Johnny Bones fight, he's not going to like it. Mm-hmm. He can laugh it off, even if he's drunk with his buddies or whatever. He can laugh it off, but every single time you hear it, that's got a sting. And yet he elected to retweet it and make it a part of it. So that's what made it actually a pretty decent comeback.
Here's what I will say about both fighters. And both of them are analysts as well. I think both of them, if you put the cone of or the truth serum in them, would agree that they respect each other as fighters.
Oh, they got to. Yeah.
I think just maybe Daniel pulled the trigger a little too fast on what he said.
Right.
But in a way,
because
he's also done that.
He's sat in that same boat or in that same seat. You know what I mean? As far as like calling the fight a certain way, and I'm sure people have come at him before, and he probably hasn't been the biggest fan of somebody just laying the hammer down like that. So that was a little.
He did lay the hammer.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when you lay the hammer, you can't really expect people to come back and play the game with you. Like, if you lay down a hammer, expect to get hit with a hammer right back, and that's what happened. I think both guys realize that, and I think they're both kind of okay with it. But behind closed doors, I bet you if you set them down, they'd probably just go, "Yeah, I probably overreacted a little bit." I did too.
Yeah.
But it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. All right. Well, that was a little tiff on Twitter this past weekend. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, we do have some cuts from Daniel Cormier's appearance on Ariel Helwani's show on ESPN Plus, where he talks about a not what I was expecting, which was more Stipe Miocic talk, but a matchup that he really wants. So let's go to cut number 1 here.
Look, man, it's all I want. I think when I fight Jones, I think that I feel most complete when I'm preparing for a competition against that guy, because it makes me train harder. It makes me train smarter. I do everything right in preparation, and I believe that if I do stick around, that would be the fight that I would do it for. And it would be at 205 pounds, because I need to go and get that back from him.
All I want, he said. So the Miocic fight is probably a huge disappointment to him at this point.
I think so. Money-wise, what he wants to achieve in his career, I think it's a disappointment.
Well, you already beat him.
Yeah.
So Jon Jones has every right to say, that's kind of how I feel about you.
It's literally like probably the toughest fight he could take. It's
Miocic?
A brutal fight. Yeah. So for him to get through it once and then
Jones
have to
too.
do it again.
Not that Jones is the lighter guy, but remember, to fight Jones, you got to cut to 205. To fight Miocic, you don't. So right away, that is a whole other animal. That's his whole life changes in a different way to get down to 205.
I mean, rankings aside and everything, I would think that obviously Brock is something that he wanted. But after Brock, I would think that somebody maybe like a Francis Ngannou, a young fighter that is still going to fight for years after this, that'll probably have some pretty good accolades, a chance to avenge the Cain Velasquez fight. I would think something like that would help him a little bit more when we're breaking down like who the greatest fighters of all time were. Then we go, all right, who has he fought at heavyweight? And we look at some of the names. I mean, you just see how rematches don't really help you all that much. I mean, how can he top the first one? He finished him. I would have been impressed if he beat him up for 5 rounds, right? Maybe it was a boring fight. Wow. Nobody really does that to Stipe, but he finished him. How's he going to top that? I don't know that it's going to do much for him being the greatest fighter of all time, as where even taking a guy like Francis Ngannou, who's shown that he's been beatable, I still think throughout that guy's career, he's going to make that victory even better. So I would think like a matchup like that would benefit him more. But, hey, man, he got caught. He got caught in this situation with Brock. It didn't work out. Now he's got Stipe. He's got to make the best of it, right?
So, yeah. Now he's fixated on Jones here in these cuts. But we've talked about, hey, this fight could happen at 205. Or, sorry, at heavyweight. Jones has wanted to go to heavyweight in the past, but if you talk about the recent past, and by that I mean pretty much since Jones has been back on the radar these last few months, the fight card in Vegas that got moved to LA, and then the one that was just recently in Vegas, he's been back on our radar. He's kind of like gone a little cold on that talk. So this is DC talking about why it has to happen at 205.
I don't need the deck stacked in my favor. My whole life I've overcome odds, right? I've faced uphill battle after uphill battle my entire life, and I've always been able to get through it. You know, this is one of the only things that I've not been able to conquer, and I need to go do it. I have to get it right, and I have to get it right on the same terms. So there's a fight out there. We'll be him and I again, and it'll be at 205 pounds.
All right, couple things here. Who's the A side at this moment between those two?
Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier?
Yeah.
Actually, I believe it's Daniel Cormier
No,
now.
it's Jon Jones.
You still think so?
Yeah.
Jon Jones doesn't sell by himself, though.
I know.
And Daniel does now.
How have we been proving of that?
Match him up against Stipe. Well, not those astronomical numbers. They need each other to do astronomical numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But right now...
But Jones has beaten him twice.
Yeah, but I don't know that anybody... Like, who
Jones
really
is regarded
tunes in
as
to see,
the greatest. When anybody says Daniel Cormier is, which I often say it, by the way, people go, but he didn't beat Jones. But he didn't beat Jones. So right now I'm actually on the argument of the Jones side. But whatever. Maybe
like
we disagree
Corey
on it.
Anderson, Jon Jones. Who's tuning in to buy that, right? Jon Jones is great, but nobody's going to tune in to buy that. Daniel Cormier, count down 6 or 7 heavyweights. I think people would still buy it.
You're going to make me pull up...
Overeem? You wouldn't watch that? You wouldn't watch him fight Overeem?
Let's give some love to our friends. MMA payout. Let's see here. We're gonna get thrown off schedule here because this one's bothering me. Okay. MMA payout is where I misspelled it. MMA payout's where I go to get some information from the business side of mixed martial arts.
Yeah. Well, you're saying right now, like today.
Wait, what happened to MMA payout?
Oh,
sorry, I keep misspelling.
Just go in the rankings. Just pick names like.
No, I want to see what the how they've done on sales in their most recent 2 fights. So, this is run by Adam Swift, who I think is we have a mutual friend in Andrew Simon, and they talk about payouts here. Where the fuck? I don't go here often enough to know where the hell I need to go. Okay, I struck out. MMA payout pay-per-views. All right, maybe I'll dig it up in the commercial. My point was going to be I wanted to see what Jones did in his most recent title defenses without Cormier, and then see what Cormier did with the Derek Lewis fight. That's what I was going to do, but I am not getting there somehow. So, that aside, let me go back to my point. I said, who's the A side? I don't even remember my point. My point was going to be, goes, DC and Jones. Fuck! I forgot what the hell I was talking about.
Well,
with the whole A side thing.
Well, because we were saying that he doesn't need him.
Right. So, I'm trying to read to why DC wants this. DC says, I've been able to overcome everything in my life, and this is something I haven't been able to do. Could there be anything to this? Could it be that he doesn't want Jon Jones to ever become a champ?
No.
Because that's DC's. Anybody that argues that DC's the greatest can say he was a light heavyweight champ and a heavyweight champ. Sure, he didn't beat Jones, but he did beat the heavyweight and the best heavyweight the UFC's ever had, which is something Jones has never even attempted. He's never really attempted a heavyweight fight. But if Jones were to go in there and beat DC, not only would he beat him for the 3rd time, twice on record, but he would also be a champ, and he would probably even overtake GSP now with any argument there. You know what I mean? So could it be that he just doesn't want Jones to have a piece of that? I mean, look,
man,
by the
he'd
time
have to be real slick for that.
By the time they weigh in, they rehydrate to about 225, 230 anyway. They're fighting as heavyweights. So just say, hey, look, you stay as healthy as you can. Meet me in the middle, man, as heavyweights, and then that's that. You know what I mean? Granted, again, Jones would be the only one that have anything. Now, DC could add a title defense if he beats Jones,
Mm-hmm.
and that also helps him. And then if he fights one more, then he ties Stipe Miocic's record of 3 title defenses, and he'd have the win over Stipe Miocic. Thereby, it could be the best heavyweight the UFC's ever had. So there's some advantages to doing it at that weight class as well.
I heard something kind of interesting. Steve Cofield used to host here on our channel.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing an interview with Joe Theismann. It was football talk, but I'm gonna bridge the gap. And Joe Theismann was saying it's almost ridiculous to try and compare quarterbacks because they just played in different eras where fighters or players were just different. They're faster, stronger, all that, right? So he said the fairest way to do it is to do it in increments of 15 years, which is kind of like somewhere along the lines of most NFL careers, right?
Not most
Well,
quarterback careers, maybe.
Yeah.
Even. Okay.
which I thought was kind of fair. So when it comes to mixed martial arts, because what I'm thinking is, all right, that would be nice to have more title defenses than Stipe. But don't you feel like somebody's just going to come around and break that as well?
All records are meant to be
Yeah,
broken.
so champ and all that, like, it's impressive. It's very impressive. But I really think little things like being Grand Prix champions, those sort of things, fighting in different organizations, I think that's what's going to separate fighters at the end of the day. And that's something that he does have, that Strikeforce Grand Prix. It's pretty interesting. So I wouldn't get so caught up in apples for apples with certain fighters, because I just feel like your records are just going to get smashed anyways. Like, when we walk upstairs, like right now, he's right there right now, Pete Rose. He's done some great things. But Pete Rose probably wouldn't have been that great of a player in this day and age. That's just how it is. He wouldn't. I think he would admit it.
He had 4,000 and some hits.
Dude, the pitchers are insane now, man.
I guess, man. But I don't know about all that. Like,
I just don't.
a hitter's a hitter. Like,
I think you just have to kind of put them in certain groups. Like, if I'm Daniel Cormier, I wouldn't get too wrapped up in trying to do those type of things. I think you sit back on 2 divisions, champ. Not a lot of people have done those 2 things. And then add in the fact that you won a Grand Prix. I think I'm pretty happy, man. You just call it a day.
now, if DC beats Jones, he can say, I legitimately won off the incumbent. I didn't have to fight someone for the vacant, nor was I given the title back after somebody had a no contest. Someone that took the title from me had a no contest. So there would be some satisfaction to that. But I believe he got the satisfaction from sitting there in front of us after he beat Stipe Miocic. That was a legit title that he won. No questions, no asterisks, no nothing. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
If he beats him at 205, though, now what? You're 1-1. Right? A lot
Yeah.
of people don't count the other one, so you're 1-1. So now what? You going to fight him again?
No, but you're 1-1 and you held 2 titles. I mean,
I
I
guess.
think that GOAT thing is something that
I think he wants
see,
it. He's a
DC's
big
not as
competitor.
outspoken when it comes to that, unless he's tweeting Sergio Mora. But for the most part, he's kind of chill and he lets people do the talking. But I know he loves it when somebody makes the argument for him on that behalf.
Yeah.
He's very, very competitive. All right, folks. We're going to go to break here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some wrestling that took place yesterday at the Hulu Theater inside the Madison Square Garden, where their main event featured MMA fighter, UFC welterweight to be more exact, Ben Askren, and he wrestled Jordan Burroughs, 2-time world champion and 2016 Olympic gold medal champion. We'll tell you all about that when we come back.
The mute button. Here are those two numbnuts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Catch a compelling Champions League clash tomorrow on SiriusXM FC. Ajax can continue their Cinderella story and clinch a berth to the championship game, but they must first dispatch a Tottenham team with his eyes set on its first ever final. Don't miss a moment of the action tomorrow, and that's in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC 157, streaming on your phone or at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. Today, Barcelona choked. They went to Liverpool with a 3-0 lead and lost 4-3.
You would be happy if you went there with like a 2-0 lead, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty comfortable. 3 though?
3-0. And do you remember last week when Barcelona, like literally the last actual play of the game, Lionel Messi, there was like a breakaway, counterattack. Do you remember when he passed it to Dembele, I think his name is? And the guy just, boop, he kicked it right at the Liverpool goalie, or else that would have been the fourth goal. That would have been even more catastrophic. But let's just say Liverpool comes back. Right now, they'd still be doing, not now, but you know what I mean. They'd still possibly be playing or going into penalties.
There were a lot of people here, a lot of Liverpool fans.
What didn't happen, though, is Barcelona didn't score that goal. Had they scored the goal, they would have forced Barcelona to score a fifth goal. And not like Liverpool to score a fifth goal. And not that they can't do it, but it's demoralizing for some teams. So Barcelona played real good in the first half. Had they made it just 1-1, the other team would have said, wow, we got 45 minutes to score 4 goals. Instead, it was 1-0. They knew, hey, let's score 2, and we're on our turf. We'll carry some momentum possibly into this OT. But, hey, that's in the past. Damn. And now they're in the finals, and now the winner of Ajax versus Tottenham will meet them in the finals of the Champions League.
Do you know, Gabby, you're a Barcelona fan?
I'm a huge Barcelona fan, and I almost cried today.
Oh, my God. That must have been brutal.
Yeah.
It was so brutal, and I'm so angry. And it was so – and, like, some other guys in the office are big Liverpool fans, and I literally was like, don't even come in here and talk to me today. I'm not dealing with you. I don't even want to hear it because it was so – it's so – people don't realize how ridiculous of a comeback it was. And I'm just so mad. And you're so right, that last play, if they would have scored that goal.
You remember that, right, last week?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
4-0.
Messi can't do everything, and this is what I say all the time. He tries to set everyone else up to score and to score these goals, and sometimes he just has to do it himself.
Yeah. Yeah, that goal, I think at that moment I thought, ooh, I said this to myself, ooh, that could come back to haunt them. And then I go, come on, 3-0.
3-0, what more do you want?
Yeah, they'll be all right. And now they could have used that goal just to take it into overtime. But, hey, it's in the past, man. All you can do is just sulk about it. In 24 hours, you'll be better. You just start turning the page to next season. What are you going to do? I know if I was a Barcelona fan like Gabby right now, I'd be pretty bitter. But I'm not. I just sat on the sidelines watching. But, yeah, man, I've kind of seen a lot in sports, but that was one I kind of didn't expect. All right, so I do have those payouts ready, guys, for the pay-per-views.
Versus John?
Yeah, the pay-per-views.
I'm thinking this isn't going to go my way because you brought it up.
Well, I wanted to hunt it down and just see. Cormier versus Jones 2 did 860,000. Jones versus Cormier the first time was 800,000. Yeah. So both of their highest pay-per-views are with each other. Jones did do 700,000 versus Evans, and he did 50,000 versus Smith. That was in 2019. Anthony Smith, 650,000 goes.
Mm-hmm.
But Cormier, when he defended against Derek Lewis, that one didn't do as well.
How'd the Stipe fight go?
Miocic versus Cormier was 380,000, well below the 650 of Jones versus Smith.
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is
And
by
Cormier,
A side, I look at who needs who more. And I think John
Cormier
needs
versus
Daniel
Johnson 2
more
did 300,000.
than Daniel needs John. Daniel can fight whoever and he'll be fine. John needs opponents right now. So that's why I consider Daniel the A side.
I don't know, man. I think in August DC showing up to work to do a fight he really doesn't want to do, because the Lesnar thing fell apart.
Yeah.
And I think he'd get more psyched up for the winner of JDS versus Ngannou. But
Well,
he's
worst
running
comes to
it back
worst.
against some guy. He has nothing to gain other than a possible third fight if he loses.
Yeah, but that's not bad.
No, but you don't want
It's
that
a trilogy
loss.
fight.
Yeah, but you don't want the loss. You're
For a
not
heavyweight title.
You're not willing to give up the loss to get the trilogy fight.
No, but that's his worst case scenario.
That's his worst case scenario.
That ain't that
But
bad.
see, I think DC is this close to retiring. In fact, look, can Gabby please play cut number 3 and watch how Jones or DC just talks about wanting to leave on top. He ain't thinking about losing.
I don't need to fight anymore for the same financial reasons most people fight, for security, for direction. I have all that. I have enough money. I have jobs on top of jobs to keep me busy after I'm done. And I just don't. I got my wrestling teams. I've got the high school team. I've got so many things going that I don't need this just to need it. I would. So if I walk away from this thing, I'm fine. I just need to take it one at a time. I have to focus on Stipe. I can't. Stipe's too good for me to go, I got to fight Jon Jones next. That's ridiculous. Then I'll lose. And then nothing's on the table. Then people are showing me the door. Right? I could be one of the very few guys that gets to make the determination when he wants to walk away if I win this fight. And walk away at the top of the game.
So, like I say, I just think that I think Cormier, and it sounds like I'm talking on behalf of him, like him and I had a dinner recently, but I guess I've covered the guy for over a decade, so I kind of have a beat on how he thinks through our interviews or from the times I have ran into him. If I'm thinking how I think he's thinking, what I'm thinking is that if he can win his next fight or two, he just keeps adding the legacy, and if Jones stumbles along the way, DC's free and clear as one of the greatest. I think his only opponent in that regard would be George St. Pierre.
Mm-hmm. But even then no, I can't say that he's got multiple divisions on him, right? Because he's done that too.
Right. They both have been champs. DC has one less loss.
Who faced better talent?
Oh, don't start with that.
That's tough, huh?
That is tough. I think DC
Hall of Famers, right? Matt, he's as a Hall of Famer. BJ Penn's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Put that down somewhere
debate.
as something we need to tackle at one point and see. All right, let's talk about last night. We had a wrestling match. Jordan Burroughs versus Ben Askren. I'll go through the list a little faster. Maybe we'll have some time to recap it in the second hour, but because we have a guest coming up pretty soon, Ray Cooper III. But Ben Askren was shut out, guys. He lost to Jordan Burroughs 11-0 by technical fall in the second round that they had. Nothing went Askren's way. There's already a couple of videos up there of just showing Burroughs dominating. Granted, he's 5 years younger, and he also competed at the highest levels longer than Ben Askren. They were both Olympians, but one went and captured the gold and also has 2 world titles to accompany. He's just had a longer tenure against these, that top competition. Ben Askren, even though he was an Olympian, I think most people would point to his collegiate career saying, hey, look what he did here. Now, that said, Jordan Burroughs was also a 2-time winner, NC2As. But he just had his way with him, and he won. And I tip my hat to Askren for even taking this because, Ben Askren is kind of regarded as one of those gods, in that world because of NCAA, because he was an Olympian, and because he's gone on to compete in mixed martial arts. I think if he walks in a room, he has a lot of respect. He still will have a lot of respect, but this is just a night where, whoa, I mean, he was shown the door, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he did this all while being in the middle of a camp for Jorge Masvidal. So what I like is, though, that he attempted it.
Yeah, and for charity.
And for charity, right? 5,000 people were there. It was sold out, and it was a huge, huge success for Beat the Streets, Grapple at the Garden. We better take this break, though. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. We got Ray Cooper III coming up. You can also take your calls at 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. All right, our next guest, our first guest, I should say, is ready to go. He's on the hotline. Ray Cooper III will be facing Zane Kamaka on Thursday on ESPN2 out of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. It's the start of the season number 2 for PFL. It's called PFL 2019, Week 1. Again, you did not mishear me. Is that a word? Mishear?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, ESPN2, PFL signed a
maybe
contract with ESPN2. 9 p.m. Eastern start time for that main card. Ray Cooper on the hotline. What's up, Ray? How you doing? Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're doing great, man. Thank you. Listen, Ray, I wanted to ask you something. When in acting, when an actor is nominated for an Academy Award, if they don't win it, obviously it's disappointing. But it's a pretty proud moment for them just to be nominated. In fact, they're usually introduced Academy Award nominee or whatever. And I wanted to ask you, you made it to the finals of season 1. We know that you came up short that night, but is it still a proud moment that you were a finalist in season 1, or do you carry this bitter taste into season 2, like, to fuel you, so that you can get over that and win it?
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't really affect me anymore. It's in the past. I really don't care about it because I didn't do what I set out to do. So I really don't care about it. I focus on getting back to the finals this season and winning the finals match.
How much better are you now than you were last season? How much do you feel like you've improved?
I improved way more in my wrestling. I think I neglected my wrestling a little bit. I would still be training wrestling last season, but my base is my wrestling, and I got away from it a little bit. So my wrestling is my base, and I went back to it, and I'm going to film more of it this season. And I just want to get back at Angle Man and be right or wrong.
What about as an athlete? Do you feel like you're faster, stronger, smarter? Do you feel like you grew athletically?
Not really. I'm the same. I don't fight the same. I train the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you feel like it was just a matter of sharpening up the tools that you have?
Yeah, shit too.
Okay.
Bring out the wrestling again.
One side story to this first round matchup, regular season matchup, I should call it, is that Zane Kamaka, I guess, is a relative or a close family friend, and there was some disappointment on the side of the Cooper side that he entered the tournament. We had him on the show, and he wishes you didn't feel like that, but he felt like it was a business decision he had to make. But I think it's always fair to ask the other party. Can you maybe clarify your thoughts on, is that true? Are you disappointed that he entered? If so, please explain. Or if not, please let us know why I guess that story seemed to get out that way.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that it happened. The way I was raised, I don't challenge my family, and I would never do that to my family member. It's just we was raised different. He's not really on blood Kamaka. The Kamaka line is from my mom's side. That's her maiden name. And yeah, he just doesn't have the way he was raised and the lifestyle we live. And it's just, I feel disrespected that one of my own so-called family members would do that. So now that he does that, I really don't care for him. This is just another fight, and I'm gonna run him over.
So this is a fight. Post-fight, this isn't something you'll get over right away. This is something that's hurt you, I guess we could say.
Yeah, this is personal, and this is like unforgiving, and I'm not gonna do the same towards him. He's just another fighter, and I just want to get him out of my way.
Wow. Okay. Ray Cooper III joining us here on the hotline. He's going to be fighting on Thursday on ESPN2 versus Zane Kamaka. You can watch the fights starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time for that main card. And if you want to dip into the other fights, I won't call them the prelims because every fight's important. It's all women's lightweight and it's all men's welterweight, and they're all equal because this is a regular season. But if you want to check those fights out before the main card, it's on ESPN Plus, 6 p.m. Eastern start time. Goes, what do you have for Ray Cooper?
Ray, after the first season, we were all stoked. It was a great season. It was fun to watch. And then when they started building towards this season, they kind of did things a little differently. They brought in a lot of new talent, and they had these little shows that would introduce who's coming in this year. All that. Did you know all of that ahead of time, or did you kind of find out the way we did, little by little, who was going to be in your division? And was it anything that you even cared about?
Yeah, I found it out a while back, and I really didn't care. I was planning on going to 185 anyways, but the 85ers came down, and it's great. We made our weight class stacked, and I think it's more stacked than last year. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season for us.
The fact that it's on ESPN now, ESPN2 here for this one, how cool is that? Like, is that something that growing up in Hawaii as a kid, I mean, is this kind of one of those bucket list type things?
For me, no. It's awesome. It's awesome for the company. We're getting closer to the top. We're right next to the UFC, but my goal is always to just push my limits and fight the best guys, and we got some of the best guys in the PFL, and yeah, I'm just looking to fight at the highest level and get my rematch back.
I'm pretty sure when you were on hold, you were able to hear our conversation, so I'm just going to ask you. Could you out breakdance somebody that's at a level 2 breakdance?
Out breakdance somebody? What is that?
Breakdance better than them.
Yeah, like in a dance off, but they're only level 2, so 2 out of 10. Do you think you could take them?
Oh yeah, I can.
See, I'm not so sure I can. Now that I think about it.
To be more exact, the question was, let's say a zombie was attacking you, but you found out minutes before that the way to survive a zombie attack was to out breakdance them. We gave him a level 2. How about a level 5? Could you out breakdance a zombie if he was a 5 out of 10?
Oh yeah, I'll breakdance the crap out of that.
So then he's got moves.
I guess so.
Anything past 5, like, that's impressive.
Are these moves like on the streets with your buddies and like a ghetto blaster type of, atmosphere, or you have like crazy moves in the club too?
Oh yeah, I was breakdancing since I was like 7th grade.
Nice. All right. Well, we asked the wrong guy the question. I guess he'd have survived this zombie attack.
Ray sounds like he's got that cardboard on him right now.
I
just throws it out.
The Alfonso Ribeiro cardboard.
Yeah, Planet Rock out there.
All right, and I guess what we got this from was during the commercial we were talking with our producer Gabby about Game of Thrones and
Walking Dead.
And what was the other one? No, not Walking Dead. Well, Walking Dead,
zombies.
yeah, that's right. Do you watch either of those shows, Ray? You gotten caught up in them?
Oh, I watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Big fan, or is everyone kind of going overboard on it? Like it's the greatest thing ever?
It's a pretty good show. It's good to just watch on Sundays and just chill out.
All right. Nice. Hey, well, listen, we'll keep it short. It's fight week. We appreciate the time. We caught up with you when you guys first got on ESPN. You're just starting off your camp, and, you already made it to one finish line. I guess all that's left is a weigh-in tomorrow, and then we got the fights coming up. So, as always, we appreciate the time that you always give us. Best of luck versus Zane Kamaka, and hopefully we can catch up with you again before the next one.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see you. Take care. That is Ray Cooper III, who was one of the stars of Season 1 for the Professional Fighters League. He will be facing Zane Kamaka on May 9th, so that's Thursday. I wanted to make sure of that. For a second there, I had heard they were moving to Friday, but this is on May 9th, this Thursday on ESPN2. Boy, he said unforgiving.
Yeah.
That, what can I don't know, Ray, and I don't know that he would take my advice, but I'd say that after the fight, if he did what he did to everyone else in Season 1, I'm pretty sure you can just kind of pick him up and go, hey, that's kind of what you get, and then you move on, but what do I know? I don't know how he really took it personal, you know what I mean?
Did PFL make the right move in putting that fight together ASAP? Or do you try and
It's a
build to
good
that?
question. Because you could build to it, and then if it never happens, then that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? But and look, we're talking about it. I think it's a pretty good story. So yeah, it makes sense to have it. Because who knows? Maybe this will lead for them to fight 2 times. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Marco, right? Marco from Waco starting things off on the phone line. 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893 if you want to follow Marco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco, ¿qué pasa, Atos?
What's up?
What's up?
I guess Kamak is going to get served. Breakdancing terms. Hey, Gavi has... I wonder how Gavi feel about Dan Hardy, he being from Liverpool and all, working the last show. I know.
He's not from Liverpool.
Yeah, that sucks.
He's from
He's
Nottingham.
from Nottingham,
right?
yeah.
He's from Nottingham. He
Nottingham.
also...
Oh, Nottingham. Yeah.
Wait, Marco,
Nottingham.
he's not a soccer fan at all. I already tried to talk to him about it. He doesn't care. So I have no one to talk to about soccer on this channel except George.
And Luke Thomas.
And Luke, who likes Real Madrid, so I hate him. But it's fine.
Hey, on the DC conversation, man, I mean, I'm glad that the DC and Steve is having it on August 17. Happens to be my birthday, you know, my 48th birthday. I'm going to celebrate it watching 2 of the best heavyweights ever. But we're talking about Jon Jones DC and making it like a aftershock that make Stevie can win this fight. And he does, you know, because Steve is really freaking good, you know, greatest heavyweight champion ever, whatever. Does DC retire if he loses, or does he get the trilogy with Stipe? Because, you know, he's super competitive, and he was going to want to get that back knowing that he can beat Stipe, you know?
Good question.
I think it depends on how it ends. If he gets knocked out kind of bad, I don't think he would fight.
And I think a lot would be determined how this camp goes with his back and just his body overall.
The other thing is, like, if it goes to a decision and he loses, I think he could probably live with the fact that, all right, we fought twice, but I finished him. He didn't finish me. He could probably walk away on that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but also the money, man, because a trilogy, you know who does it right? ESPN will hype the shit out of that. A trilogy will be kind of sort of a money fight for both of them. You know, I mean, granted that if he wins the 3rd fight, you know, then the Jon Jones fight comes back into the fold.
But remember, apparently the fighters are losing a little bit of leverage because now the pay-per-view buys don't matter as much. The UFC already gets an actual fee. That I want to say that I don't want to say that too often until I find out more about exactly how that works. But that's kind of what we're being told by a lot of people that do follow the promotion and what they're hearing behind the scenes. But I want to get more clarity on that to see. I think the UFC knows that they need to share more of their money with the fighters if they are in fact making more. But are they doing that? I don't know. We're only hearing about one case with Brock Lesnar, and it didn't go well for him. But how do we know he didn't come in and say, "I want $100 million," and Dana said, "Come on, you're out of your mind," you know? So the more we get on that one, the more we'll share.
Yes, that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, guys, peace out.
All right, we'll see you.
Thanks for the call.
Let's talk to Jay from LA. What's up, Jay?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, bud?
3 quick points.
Okay.
Number 1, Askren didn't lose yesterday. He got taken out by the woodshed. Okay, he lost by tech fall, which is equivalent to a mercy.
All right.
That's like playing a pickup game with 1-on-1 in the first 5 points and somebody dunked on you. Okay, after that, it doesn't make sense. 2, Cormier is BSing about not wanting the money. That's the only reason he wanted Lesnar. Why else would you fight a guy who got popped for roids and hasn't fought for 3 years? And 3, Game of Thrones would be the greatest show on TV ever if they were based on Martin's complete work instead of the last 4 seasons where the producers had to kind of fill in. All right, peace out, fellas.
All right, thank you.
Man, I've heard that from a few people. So what happens is he the guy that created it wrote books, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the books only go so far, and so after a certain point, they just started writing it the way they wanted, like HBO, right? So this guy's going to put out more books, and it could be that the characters that you're used to maybe dying here, well, don't die, or maybe the story's different. But supposedly they're brilliant.
Okay. And then, yeah, Askren, 11-0, man.
Props to him, though, dude, for doing it. A lot of people are so worried about their street cred and this and that they don't put themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
And plus, you're going to lose to one of the greatest of all time. I mean, where's the shame in that?
Interesting point, though, what he said about Lesnar. He's right. I bet you a lot of it was a business decision that made him excited. I think it was also just adding another skin to the wall. And knowing that you're facing a high-level pay-per-view guy that probably isn't as threatening as any of the guys in the top 10 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Blades, Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, all those guys are probably a tougher matchup than Brock Lesnar, and yet Brock Lesnar pays you the most. So maybe it was a little bit of both. All right. We are going to go to the top of the hour break. We're only gone for 60 seconds, and we'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the MMA news that's out there. Some good, some bad. But as always, we love the sport. We try and cover it as best as we can, covering everything that's going down in our sport. Now, we also have a couple other interviews coming up in the second hour, so stay tuned for those. And we'll be right back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 156.
Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Let's go. All right. Big shout out to Greg Savage from the PFL for helping to line up the Ray Cooper interview. Cooper's a beast. You'll really enjoy watching him fight. And with that bad blood he has with his distant relative, Zain Kamaka, I think that's definitely one of the fights to keep an eye on. Imagine if Kamaka wins.
I'm trying to think, like, even
that
though
it's
a distant relative, which we have tons of, I don't think I could ever fight a distant relative. Maybe he has a point.
Well, okay, look at it's different because they're both vying for the $1 million prize. You're not like look at Valentina. She really wanted her sister to go in. I mean, she was there coaching her when she was at the Dana White Contender Series. She sat there in the back because, you got to win your fight. And then Dana comes out and goes, okay, these are who we've elected to be a part of the organization. And she knew that it was that the sister was going to come in and, they could possibly be in the same division, occupying basically the same space. But they figured, well, we're not going to fight, but for now, I just want you in. This one's different because you're one of 8, so there's a 1 in, 7 chance that I could possibly be fighting you. What are you doing crowding my space? I kind of see that a little bit, but at the same time, I guess, yeah, you are happy for family, and if you get in, you try and give them a little bit of a lift. Maybe he was hoping he'd get into Bellator or the UFC and not where he's at or whatever. But another thing was, remember, they were supposed to have the middleweight division. They had it last year. Mm-hmm. Cooper was going there. But then I guess he got forced into this spot, and he's not too happy about it. We've heard both sides. The Kamaka interview is up on iTunes. If you subscribe to us there, you can scroll back a few shows, and you'll hear him talk about his side. And our show is also on the SiriusXM app. You can check that out commercial-free and in HD quality. Go back a few shows as well, and you can catch Zain Kamaka talking about that. But him and Cooper on Thursday, they'll definitely be settling it. And I'm excited to watch that fight. All right. Now, there's some good and some bad. What do you guys want to hear first?
The bad.
All right. I'm going to read you a headline. And I really don't want to. But it's very public.
I'm not going to like this.
It's everywhere. And then I'll tell you immediately why I don't like it. It says ex-UFC fighter Anthony Johnson arrested for alleged misdemeanor battery of ex-girlfriend. When I say that and when you read it, all people hear and see is Anthony Johnson arrested, battery, and probably the ex-girlfriend part. The word alleged is something that we all just allegedly, allegation, because I think we're all kind of saying more than likely it happened, but we got to say this just to protect ourselves from the legal side. But I read through this article today, and it really looked like Anthony Johnson was having some sort of a dispute with this lady.
Mm-hmm.
And as described here, because she didn't sustain any visible injuries or anything, as it's kind of described in the quotes that we're getting and the versions that we're getting, it sounds like what he was trying to do was pick her up, remove her from the room so that he could go back, get his stuff, and leave. Now, a lot of you will probably say, George, he's had a few of these allegations in the past, and that's true. But man,
knowing that
these headlines they're so damaging to a lot of people. And when I read these stories, I've read way worse. And again, God, I'll probably catch some heat for what I'm saying. That's not the point, George. Maybe he shouldn't be. Maybe he should have just left and not picked her up and said, But that's what happened, folks. Is he picked her up using a football hold? So I imagine kind of like how you just pick someone up over your shoulder, maybe put her in another room, and it was her house. And I guess if she's saying leave, you got to leave. So maybe that part he handled wrong. What I guess I'm trying to be clear about is he didn't strike her. There you go. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say is he didn't strike her. And
you're not saying it's okay. You're just saying.
No, I'm not condoning it one bit. But I'm saying it sounds like the technical term, I guess, is correct. The charges that might come his way or whatever. But because he's had stuff happen in the past, he's going to catch a lot of heat for this. And I would say that you have to just leave the scene, because there's really almost no way you can win in a situation like that.
Well, especially having a past, right?
Correct.
It should be enough to go, whoa,
you're a high-visible person, whether you're an athlete or another form of entertainment, an actor or a singer, whatever. You know there's going to be a big spotlight, and if you've had a past, it's just not going to be good. And so the best thing to do is you turn around, you do a 180, and walk out. In fact, let me say a little bit more about this. Or do you want to say anything?
Well, I was going to say, I think kidnapping technically is taking somebody from one room to another. Mm-hmm. So you could be here in our studio, and that little room right next door, if you were to take somebody and put them there, you could be charged with kidnapping, I believe. Mm-hmm. To us, kidnapping is throwing somebody in the trunk of a car and driving them off somewhere, right? Some house or something.
Right.
So I guess I kind of understand what you're saying. And I agree. You do have to make sure you read everything, because sometimes headlines, people just read headlines, right?
Right.
But at the same time, because he's been through things, I think something at some point has to click, and you go, wait a minute. I can't be involved in these type of things anymore. I just need to get the hell out of here. Mm-hmm. But who knows, man? Like, who knows what he was trying to get? Passport. Right. I don't know.
Well, there was a tweet that went out today, and it showed what looked to be a girl standing up over a guy. The guy was seated along the bench, and it looked like maybe a high school or a college or something. And I didn't have the volume on. But the young lady was saying something to the guy, and she slapped him. Mm-hmm. He got up and kind of, I think, punched her.
Oh.
Didn't look like a solid connection like what we're used to seeing in MMA. Maybe it was partial slap, or he got a piece of her. I couldn't tell, or maybe it just kind of like was an open hand, but kind of like not the variety of like wide open that you see, like an exaggeration from like Charlie Murphy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she went down, and anyway, the caption said, "Is it ever right to hit a woman? No, but what about in self-defense?" And then a bunch of people chimed in. And I was surprised at how many guys, and I know Twitter's just somewhere where you can say anything. I believe that out of the 20 responses, some said in self-defense, okay. Of those 20, 10 really felt that way. And 10 may have just said, it's Twitter, I'll fuck around and just say whatever. Mm-hmm. But All I can think of is I don't think it's ever okay unless she has a weapon. And even then, I would think your main concern is disarming. You know what I mean? So grabbing a hold of someone's wrist or hand or wherever the weapon is. If it's a knife, you want to outrun them. If it's a gun and you feel like they're going to pull the trigger and you have a chance to reach, then you do that. But the reason I said that is the self-defense thing, she hit you, whatever, you cover up, you got to walk away. I just think there's way more worse repercussions even trying to play the whole self-defense argument. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You do have a right to defend yourself. I get that. But I just don't see how that's the best decision. I don't think it's the best decision. I think you definitely walk away. What do you think?
I agree. No, you have to. There's got to be something in your head that just tells you, regroup.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
You can say to yourself, you fucking bitch. And, and you can say to yourself, that sucked. What are you thinking? What are you doing? But you cannot retaliate like that. I think you just cover up and you walk away and you distance yourself from the situation. Calm yourself down. If it's something that needs to be figured out at that particular moment, I don't know because I didn't finish seeing the whole video. Mm-hmm. But still, it kind of bothered me today.
You've punched a wall before, right? Or a door?
Yeah.
What's the most anger?
I think a door. I don't know that a wall. I'm pretty cognizant to look at a wall and go, that's not going to be good for the hand. But
I think more of the wall. I don't have to patch that shit up later.
I'm thinking of those cheesy doors like on The Ultimate Fighter.
Have you ever felt that door for real?
That Rampage kicks through?
That is a joke of a door, dude.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't punch that wall right here that divides us here in the studio.
Yeah. Slam that door in my face all day.
I'm just concerned that the youth of America, man, thinks that's in any way okay. I see less kids, less boys, young men opening doors for females or acting chivalrous.
I read an article on this once.
Kind of sucks because that's not how I was raised.
Me neither. And I think there is less of that. But I read an article that was saying that because there isn't as much of a division between male and female as there was before, there still is. Because there isn't, that's why they think that way. That kind of made sense a little bit. Mm-hmm. But still, it's still not equal. But it's a lot better than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some good news.
Think Gabby wants to strangle us right now?
I don't know. Gabby, do you have any thoughts on what we're talking about? Did you see that video on Twitter?
No, I didn't. I didn't see the video, but I mean, I think it is true what you're saying that chivalry is not the same nowadays as it is. Like how you were saying, guys don't open the door anymore. They really don't. Mm-hmm. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm in this generation, and it's like, especially like dating in this generation, kind of you have like different kinds of expectations, and it's not all guys' fault. I think girls, if they don't expect it or demand like the kind of respect, then that's what happens too. But it's definitely a different time from like when my parents were younger. Like my father was treated my mother like amazingly, so it is a different kind of time. And hopefully the younger generations don't look at this and like think it's okay, because that would be sad if it doesn't end up changing anything.
Yeah, I'll see a lot of like if a woman drops something, I'll see guys here at the Manly Bay, see guys just walk by and not offer to pick it up, or
they order first. They order first, or if their food comes, they start eating before her.
Exactly. That's like
they're horrible.
It's horrific.
On the bus, like men don't even get up for women if they're standing. Like that's where I think it's crazy. Like if you're on the bus, even older women are standing, and no young men get up to let the woman sit down. That to me is kind of crazy.
Originally I thought what you meant was when you're all in a boardroom and a lady leaves, I think you meant all the men need to stand.
Titanic?
No.
Yeah, that one.
Like
that one's
transportation.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so somebody boards a subway or a bus, and you're sitting, and it's a female. Offer your seat.
Like an older female.
Stand up
not
and
for
don't
me,
just.
I'm young, I can stand. But like
you still got to do it. Though.
An older lady or like a pregnant woman or something, you're just gonna let them stand for like 20 minutes. Like that to me is kind of crazy. Like I would get up for someone.
And fellas, if you're listening, take it a step further. You stand, free up the seat, and point to it and say, "Why don't you sit down?" You know what I mean? Don't sit down and go, "Would you like to sit down?" Because that's basically saying, "I really like it here, and I'm hoping you say no." But my mom always told me that I should say blah, blah, blah. No, stand up and offer it. Like and then if they declined it, then sit down, too. What's that?
Like when you have a last piece of gum and you offer it, you kind of don't want that person to say yes, but you got to do it. Mm-hmm. That's what that is. I actually did that one time where I stood up and asked the lady, "Do you want to sit down?" And I got dirty looks from all the guys. It was in the tram, right
At
here.
Mandalay Bay?
Yeah, and everybody gave me a dirty look, like I was being an asshole. Like, why'd you make us look dumb? In other words,
I'll take that look because that's just
They didn't feel
it's
good.
almost like it's almost natural. Here's another one that pissed me off too.
the
Same
worst when
thing
they don't say thank you.
with
though.
the elevator. With the elevator, I also try and let the females and the kids walk out first.
Yeah.
You know, or if it's a couple, then that's fine. The guy can go in front of me. I mean, I can tell he's coupled up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But hold the door and do that. It doesn't. I mean, all these little decisions or whatever, they're really not that big. Your feet aren't going to be that much more sore when you get home. You're not going to be that much more later because you're a few steps behind because you left the elevator or someone you walked in before you. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Can you imagine if you were in a booth and you were doing Gabby's way, where everybody's got to stand up when the girl leaves? Everybody got to slide out, stand up. That's what you thought she meant, right? Like when the lady
Well,
leaves
a lot
the
of
table,
when a lady
everybody
leaves the
stands up,
table, a lot of men stand up. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
But I thought she meant that one. I was gonna say, well, that one you're not gonna get as too often, but
right? I'd do it if everybody else did it. I'd do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the good news. Finally, I can get to it. The good news is Tony Ferguson looks like he might be cleared.
Someone
He had
took
a
that
meeting
picture.
in Las Vegas, and he put out a quote, "I'm back, MFs." You guys know what that means. And I don't think he tweets that without the UFC also kind of co-signing that hopefully that he's passed their tests. Because I think this is pretty serious, what Tony Ferguson has gone through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's something where he just goes to his personal doctor, and I really hope this is ongoing, with therapy. I hope this isn't just like, hey, I did my 3 sessions, now can I fight again? I would hope that this is something ongoing, and I would hope that this is something where both parties have, or he's either gone to UFC just a UFC doctor,
Mm-hmm.
or his own and the UFC doctor. I don't think you can just go to your own and say, my doc says it's good to go. This was really, really serious stuff that he was going through. But according to Brett Okamoto, he tweets, Tony Ferguson, and he's from ESPN, Tony Ferguson and his new management, Ballin G Group, met with the UFC brass in Las Vegas today. That was yesterday. I'm told the meeting went well. No fight agreed upon yet, but it's possible things move quite fast from here. Tony's excited to fight. UFC excited to have him back.
Now what do you do?
With Tony Ferguson, if I'm the UFC,
Yeah.
well, I guess if he's ready to go, then you book him.
Yeah. No.
Oh, who? Well, going back to the conversation with. Okay, this is what I think should happen. I think Khabib's fighting Poirier. I think
Right.
Conor should just fight Diaz, get that over with.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cowboy should fight.
If Brock Lesnar's demands were ridiculous, can you imagine what Nate Diaz is saying for a third fight?
Yeah,
He ain't trying to hear.
I think Gaethje's more qualified right now for Ferguson than Cowboy. I think Gaethje deserves Ferguson.
I think they're going to do that, and then I think
But
they'll finally do Cowboy.
that's if
and
they're
Conor.
all healthy and all under contract, and if one of those falls out, then start filling in the blanks. So who would that leave for Cowboy?
Conor. I don't think
No,
they'll do Diaz.
let's say Conor and Diaz.
You think that'll
Well,
happen?
I guess I'm going off my personal wish list. Conor fights Nate Diaz. Tony fights Gaethje. Poirier fights Khabib, sorry. And then that leaves kind of Cowboy out. But Cowboy's the last. I mean, Cowboy only just returned to lightweight. It's not like he's been banging there for the last few years while these other guys have. He got Iaquinta, and that was a huge win. So I would say maybe Paul Felder, but they're homies. Gregor Gillespie, but I don't know if that's going to be too exciting. Well, then again, nobody wants to face Gregor Gillespie. So maybe a run back with Anthony Pettis. I don't know. Or maybe just like you said, Diaz isn't ready to go. Okay, Cowboy versus Conor. Just fill in one of those
I
blanks.
think that's what's going to happen. I think it'll be Gaethje and Ferguson.
All right, we better take our break here. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. We will be back. We got 2 guests popping in a row. The first one will be Cesar Balmaceda. He fights Sydney Outlaw on May 17th at CFFC 74. And then we'll go with Walt Harris, who just got a win over Sergey Spivak this past Saturday at UFC on ESPN +9.
They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, folks, not this Friday, May 10th, but next Friday, May 17th, CFFC will have a fight card on the UFC Fight Pass from the Etes Arena in Atlantic City, New Jersey. In the main event for the interim lightweight title, we have Cesar Balmaceda versus Sydney Outlaw. One of those two gentlemen is joining us now on the hotline. It's Cesar Balmaceda. Hello, Cesar. How you doing? Welcome to MMA Junkie Radio.
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing the show. I'm George. My partner here is Goes. Our producer's Gabby. We're excited to have you. 5-0, headline in here, and I'm hearing good things may come your way if you get this W, man. Is that you love that pressure?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping the good things to come my way. No pressure, really. Just go in there and do the same thing I've been doing and walk out of there with a W.
There you go. Now, Sydney Outlaw has 3 times more experience than you. He's also lost 3 times. You haven't lost, but he does have more experience. Is that in any way a concern for you, or do you feel like you can hang with him in terms of at least that? You know, I'm sure these fights for the title are something that's a little bit newer for you.
Yeah, I mean, the experience doesn't bother me. I knew, going for the title that I was going to have to fight experienced guys and the more tougher opponent. So, I mean, I was up for the challenge. I think I'm ready, and I'm expecting anything that he throws at me. So, I mean, yeah, experience, it's always good to have, but I feel like, with my training, and I feel like I had quite experienced myself. I had a nice little long amateur career, but, yeah, I'm ready. I don't think it's going to bother me.
Do you remember exactly what event, or maybe it was a person, that actually got you excited about MMA where you said, I want to do that?
I've seen it on TV when I was younger. I would say probably like 11 years old when I first seen it, and I was like, wow, I'm like, that's something I want to do. And I always wanted to try to join a gym, some type of gym. But my parents, my family didn't have enough money to send me to a gym, so I kind of just waited until high school to where I joined the wrestling club, and it was free.
There you go. All right, Cesar Balmaceda is our guest here. Do you prefer Balmaceda or Balmaceda?
Balmaceda.
Balmaceda. All right. Cesar Balmaceda is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He'll be headlining CFFC 74 on May 17th. And this is for the interim title. Cage Fury Fighting Championships, by the way, has produced a lot of good fighters over the years, including Aljamain Sterling, Paul Felder, Jimmy Rivera, the Miller brothers. The list goes on and on. So some studs have come out of that organization. That's why they're on the Fight Pass. And again, this event can be seen on the UFC Fight Pass, 9 p.m. Eastern on May 17th. All right, Goes. What do you have for Cesar Balmaceda?
Cesar, I saw your amateur record, and it is pretty extensive. What would you say was the deciding factor for you to turn pro? Because you had quite a few of them, and you did suffer a loss, so it seems like you were able to bounce back from that, learn from that. But what was that one thing that made you say, okay, now I'm ready to turn pro?
I just felt like I just felt like it was time. Felt like I was getting older. I'm not going to get any younger, and I felt confident enough to where when I turned pro, I transitioned to everything that I need to do and adjust and learn from all my mistakes I did in my amateur.
I think it's natural for everybody to kind of look ahead, not looking past your opponent, but just look ahead in the future. And a lot of people have you tied to maybe a victory here, maybe another victory after that. But the letters UFC come up. And the UFC aren't the only players in town. There's Bellator, there's PFL, One Championship. There's quite a few of them. Is there any one in particular? Is it UFC or break? Or do you think you could find a home somewhere else?
Well, UFC is my goal. I don't know what's going to come ahead, but, one day I would love to be in the UFC, which I know I will be. And, that's where I want to dominate, because I feel like UFC, that's a top organization. That's where you're known. Not discrediting any other organization, but I just feel like UFC, that's the main event right there. That's the big show.
Now, I know the CFFC moves around a little bit, but this fight is in Atlantic City, and you're from Atlantic City, so you're going to have a lot of support there.
Not as much as you think, but yeah, I definitely will. A lot of people, they always see me, tell me, oh, hey, you're the fighter, good luck and stuff like that. But as in like coming out to actually come to the fight, not so much. But I got my fans that come out, my friends and family come out to support me.
Why is there a little bit of a resistance? Is MMA just not a hot ticket, or are you kind of like the family jerk? Or I mean, like what? Or you weren't popular in school? Why don't you have a lot of people coming out?
No, I don't know. Just a bunch of people always say, hey, I want to come through. I want to come watch you fight, and it just seems just to never to do. It's not too big in Atlantic City, I guess. Well, I still get a good turnout. I bring in probably about 120 people.
Damn, that's not bad.
It's not too bad.
I didn't think I knew 120 people.
Me neither. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. What did you think was an impressive number? If 120 is,
I don't know. I know a bunch of guys that I always talk to that fight and stuff. They're always talking, oh yeah, I got like 250, close to 300 coming, and I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot for me.
I think they're just padding their stats, Cesar. I don't think it's that big. I think if you're at 100, you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Sydney Outlaw is standing in front of you, and have you done the tape study, or have your coaches done the tape study?
My coaches did a tape study.
Okay, and so what did they tell you stood out about Sydney Outlaw that you need to be concerned about?
They just said just be ready for him. He's a tough opponent, and he's going to come in there strong. He's going to come ready.
Mm-hmm. Is this the best fighter you've ever fought, at least on paper?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe every opponent I fight is the best opponent I fought. Mm-hmm. Until I'm done, then I can decide and determine, hey, if it was a tough fight, then I can see what it is. But yeah, every fight that I have that's coming up, it's always my toughest.
Who are some of your favorite MMA fighters out there?
I really don't follow it too much, but if I would say right now a guy that's sticking out to me, I like Israel Adesanya. I like how he he's his stand up and everything. But I don't really follow it too much.
Mm-hmm. And why is that? You're just never been a fan of the sport, or like are you already preoccupied?
No,
like just, you have a family, or?
Yeah, I'm preoccupied. If I'm not training or working, I'm at home with my family. And I just had a son, so it's I like to come home and play with him and try to give him as much attention as I can, because I got a busy day all day and I don't get to spend as much time as I would like with him.
What's his name? How old's the kid? How old's your boy?
He's about to be 10 months on the 14th.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Are you gonna deck him out, kind of like Donald Cerrone does? He brings his little baby to his fights. Is it the same thing, or does he stay at home?
No. If I had to pull that Donald Cerrone did, and I can take him backstage and do all that, make him as comfortable as I can, yeah, I would do that. But I don't want him in the crowd and stuff like that. He's just gonna stay home.
I gotcha. And you said you have another job. You have a full-time job as well from training. Aside from training?
Yeah, I have a full-time job.
What do you do there, Cesar?
I'm a UPS driver.
Okay, and you did say it's full-time, or are you part-time?
No, full-time.
And do you?
Yeah, it's tough because I just don't work 40 hours. I work 50, 45. So, and I go in the morning, come out at night, go straight to training, and about 2-3 hours at home before I go to sleep. So it's a long day for me when I'm in my training camp.
Now I see why you're not an MMA fan. Okay, because UPS kicks your ass, man. That
especially
is
like in December and
that's a
November,
physical
around
job.
there.
Exactly.
Woo.
That's a physical job. And he just had a kid, and then he still gets his training in. Wow. All right. Well, hats off to you, my man. Hopefully, some big paydays come, so that maybe at some point you'll either be you'll be a full-time fighter. But it's pretty admirable that you're balancing all that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's it's tough, but you gotta do it.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, it was very nice to meet you. We look forward to your fight on UFC Fight Pass on May 17th versus Sydney Outlaw. And is there anything you want to say to your fans or any of your sponsors that have helped carry you along the way?
All my fans, thank you. Always appreciate the support. Don't really have much of sponsors. But yeah, no, that's about it.
All right, brother. All right, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it. Take care.
All right, you too. Thanks. Nice meeting you.
All right, you too. See ya. That is Cesar Balmaceda, who fights Sydney Outlaw for the interim lightweight title, and that's on May 17th. You can catch the fights on the UFC Fight Pass. By the way, they also have a featherweight title fight and a bantamweight title fight. So the CFFC has put together a stacked card in terms of the featuring the better fighters that they have on their roster in 3 particular weight classes. Go ahead.
You come fight night, you think Cindy Outlaw is being brought to justice?
Perhaps, yeah.
If you're Caesar, you gotta make like a wanted poster, right?
I think so. He could add a little bit of fun with this whole outlaw thing. Yeah.
Have your little kid wear a little sheriff's badge or something.
I thought maybe he was going to tell us he's the new sheriff in town, and that I think this is something he could have some fun with. Mm-hmm. But 100 to 120 is. How many do you think you could draw if you had a fight?
Where?
Well, we'll say Vegas, and one in Vegas and one in Orange County.
One in Vegas, I could draw 50 people, I think.
How many would it be from Cali?
Okay. All right. Maybe 80 people. 30 from Cali. I think that's what I could do. Back home in Cali, I think I could probably draw about the same, but maybe 10 from Vegas. It's easy to get people to come to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. So how many in Cali?
30.
Less in Cali than in Vegas?
No.
Do you have more friends in Vegas than Cali?
I can convince more people from Cali to come to Vegas to see me fight
Vegas
than I
is an
can.
awesome city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I can have people come from Vegas to Cali. Vegas to Cali,
so
they're coming in for my fight.
He's doing okay with 100.
Yeah, I think he's doing great.
Who was it that told us like 300? Do you remember the name?
No.
It was recent, right? 3 months ago?
I don't think so.
It may have been a CFFC fighter as well.
Really?
I want to say it was someone on the East Coast, and it may not have been.
I thought it was a PFL guy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, not Andre Harrison, though. It was just...
No, it wasn't Sean O'Connell.
Cesar let our producer know that he's actually 6-0. And this happens sometimes where... And usually the fighter will correct us when we're missing a win.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have one less loss. But that's fine. I believe him. 6-0. And he's actually defending the interim title.
Oh, okay.
So this will be a title defense for him. And I was just going off what I saw on our rumors page on MMA Junkie. So no disrespect, Cesar. But Sherdog also has the same thing, 5-0. Now, as far as the interim, I believe him there. Like I say, if that's what he's saying happens, then that's what's happening. Either way, I'll be tuning in to CFFC 74 on May 17th on the UFC Fight Pass, 9 p.m. Eastern start time. All right, we got to take another break. When we come back, hopefully, cross our fingers, Walt Harris.
I think we're good.
Will join us on the MMA Junkie radio show. He just beat Sergey Spivak this past Saturday at UFC on ESPN +9, and it was a waxing, man. He really, really put it on Spivak. He even got a bonus, so we'll talk to him about all that when we come back. Do you demand people's respect, Gus?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was
don't?
going to say I'm a little lax on it. They can act however they want. But tonight at 10:30 Eastern, it's Game 5 of the conference semifinal series between the Portland Trailblazers and the Denver Nuggets. Hear all the excitement on NBA Radio, Sirius 207, XM86, and streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. All right. We are now going to talk to Walt Harris. Just kidding. We're not. He didn't answer. It's 2 days in a row. Just sent him a nasty text. It wasn't that nasty.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he's a UFC heavyweight, for crying out loud. Did you see what he did to Sergey Spivak? I want none of that. He got a performance of the night bonus because he waxed him in 50 seconds of round 1. Walt's a cool guy, man. But this is 2 days in a row, so I don't know what else to say other than just keep moving along here. Nothing to see.
Oh, he's trying to call back right now.
Oh, good. Okay. However, I do have some pretty interesting news. Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero targeted for UFC 241 in August goes. That's the same card that's headlined by Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. Now that is a 1-2 punch, right?
Talk about another fight getting personal. That one has gotten pretty personal.
Romero and Costa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero. Those are the first 2 fights announced for UFC 241 on August 17th. Walt Harris joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Walt? How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on, guys?
Not much, my man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. It's good to have you. We talked to you pre-fight. You told us you were going to go out there and whoop some ass. You didn't let us know that you were going to be that devastating. I thought this fight was going to play out. Maybe round 2, you'd get the win. Maybe it goes to a decision. Maybe Sergey has some moments, gets some shots in. Hell no. You blasted him.
Had to, bro. Had to.
Yeah. Why do you feel like you had to? I mean, I don't think you were fighting for your job, or is that just the mindset you like the goal that you set for yourself was you wanted to be devastating, or explain that a little, please.
Yeah, that was the goal for sure. Like I told you guys, I felt like, with me losing with me not getting the Sergey fight, or the Alexei fight, I felt like I needed to make a statement in this fight, and so that went as perfectly as planned. I mean, that's exactly how I honestly envisioned it, and I couldn't ask for a better situation, a better outcome.
Greatest win of your career so far?
It's up there. I mean, as far as like how I did it, I think in the UFC for sure it's my best win as far as, me going out there and doing what I know I'm capable of doing. But I think the best is yet to come for me for sure.
Mm-hmm. And you got a bonus. I think that's got to be the tiebreaker. I mean, the Chase Sherman win. I mean, there's been some really, really nice ones in your career, but this one was pretty devastating from start to finish. You got out of there in 50 seconds. I imagine you're okay. You can update us there, but you got 50 G's, baby.
Yeah, man. That's probably the reason I would put it up there as the best. Thank you. You too, because I got the bonus. I just feel like that was kind of like the cap on the.
Yep.
Excuse me, on the night. So, I felt like I should have got one for the Chase Sherman fight. But I didn't. And to get it, it was like like proof that my hard work is definitely, paying off, and all the decisions that I made, in my personal career is paying off. So I'm happy about that for sure.
Walt, how was it coming back from Canada? What did Canada say about your win, show, and performance money? Like, I'll take that. Did they dip in and take a lot? Because they say that happens sometimes on international trips.
Bro, they went crazy, man. Yeah, they hit me pretty good.
Did they really? They hit you harder than you hit Spivak?
Yeah, they definitely hit me hard, way harder than I hit Spivak. But I knew it going into it. Like my manager Jason House, he kind of prepped me. He's like, taxes, blah blah. And then in the doctor's day, after I was signing for my check or whatever, they were kind of explaining where the money was being deducted and why, and told me that I wouldn't be double taxed, which was pretty nice. And then, from what I understand, I get that money back at some point, so I'm not too upset about it.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah, because they got the free health care up there, brother. You know what I mean? And so the way that happens.
Yeah, I got to pay for that off the top. I got to pay off the top, but apparently, when I give him my accountant, he's supposed to be able to get that back, hopefully. So we'll see.
Would you have felt better if they told you, well, some of this tax money will help a couple kids get braces? So feel good about yourself, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I like the fact that they have free healthcare. I think America could, learn a thing or two about that. But, if it's helping somebody, for sure, I don't mind it.
Yeah, all right.
I'm a giver.
You're a bigger man than me. I still would have been pissed. Walt Harris is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, UFC heavyweight. Big win over Sergey Spivak at UFC Fight Night, Iaquinta versus Cowboy. UFC on ESPN +9, UFC Ottawa, whatever you want to call it. He went out there. He was one of the 4 bonus winners. And now he's got 12 wins in his career, including his last 3. All right, Goes, what do you have for Walt Harris?
Walt, before this interview, I had my questions all lined up. They were all MMA related. And then you did something that completely distracted me. You said, thank you very much. And it was followed by a crumbling of a bag, which means
he's in a drive-thru.
You must have said, give me a number something, and they gave you something back. Where did you go? What did you order?
So basically, I just took my wife on a hot date through a drive-thru at Hardee's.
Hardee's, okay. What'd you order?
Walt, you just got a bonus, man. You got to be taking her to Olive Garden or Chili's or something, not Hardee's.
That's going. Hey, look, man. Hey, Mother's Day Sunday. I gotta say something. You know what I mean?
Nice save. All right, that's a nice save.
Sunday she's gonna be like, So I gotta kind of hold it in for a bit.
All right.
Now the heat's kind of on you because your next up is Olive Garden and Chili's. He got a lot of money.
I know, but I was trying to take it easy on him. You know what I mean? Okay. I could have said some steakhouses, but I didn't want to completely clown him.
In case, he said, hey, we got that $10,000 bonus or something like that.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Okay, yeah. I gotcha. All right, what'd you get at Hardee's?
I got the 3rd-pound thick burger.
All right. So be honest. In your situation right now, you can't wait for this interview to be done, right? Because then you get to eat.
Nah, I'm good, man. I love talking to you guys. I'm not even hungry. When I got the phone call, I was like, dang, that can wait. You feel me?
All right, so
let me MMA Junkie right now, dog.
Let me ask you this, dude. In this situation, man, that fight couldn't have ended in a better situation for you. And what we hear from some fighters is what they like to do is they like to just kind of stay ready in case somebody else were to drop off. Yep. Would you be wanting to be that guy to step in for another fight? And if so, is there anything you have in mind?
Sir. I mean, I'm in for whatever, man. I honestly don't know what's coming up on the horizon, to be honest. I hadn't really looked too deeply into it. But, yeah, I'm training. I'm back in the gym. I was in the gym Monday morning. So I'm back doing 2 days right now. I'm just staying ready, man. I'm happy where I'm at. And I don't want to lose my shape too much. I've done that in the past in my career, and I don't want to be in fat camp. I want to be in fight camp when they call. So, I'm gonna eat this cheeseburger and enjoy it, and then I got my chef prepared meals in the refrigerator waiting. So
nice.
We're not gonna stray too far. I'm gonna have some whiskey tonight. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is it the Conor McGregor whiskey, or you got another whiskey?
Nah, I couldn't do it, man. I got the Jameson, bro. I've been told that the Proper 12 is not all that it's cracked up to be. So I went out and got the Jameson. Now, Conor, don't be mad. I'm going to get some Proper 12 one day. You can send me a case if you like. I will drink it. But I'm a Jameson guy, man. I ain't going to lie to you. Jameson is my go-to. So I grabbed me a bottle of Jameson last night, had a glass, went to bed, and now I'm going to have another, relax,
So then we have to have a bottle waiting when he comes here in studio, George, in a couple weeks.
Correct. We'll have a bottle of Jameson waiting for you.
Walt, I have a question. When you get to that top point in your division, does it matter who's the champ? Is there a certain guy that you want to beat?
To be honest, I've always wanted to fight Stipe. I've admired the guy. You know what I mean? I like his style. I think it's a good fight for me, and it's a good test for me. You know what I mean? Stipe is well-rounded, and he's a tough guy. He's been in with some of the best guys in the business. And so that's a guy that I look forward to trying to challenge myself against for sure. I don't know if DC beats him, if he'll still have the belt. If he does, I would like to fight DC. I like DC. We get along. But I think that's another fight that I would be willing to challenge myself and test myself and kind of see where I'm at. But like I said, I'm down to fight anybody, man. I take on all comers. So I feel like I match up well with everybody in the division, to be honest. So
I got the fight for you, man. Now, I know you've called out Justin Willis a little bit, and that's fine. If you get that fight, I think that's a solid fight. But I think Alistair Overeem would be a good test for you. Alistair's fought almost everybody, but right now he's kind of in a holding pattern. He's won 2 in a row, and every other heavyweight is kind of tied up. But I think that would be an exciting fight between you and him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That'd be a good one. I would definitely enjoy that fight. You know, like I've watched Alistair for years, so yeah, that's another one that I'd be interested in. You know, if that comes down the pipe, I'm with it. Running.
Mm-hmm. Last question for me: is Abu Dhabi still the preferred site, or I heard you say something about July, or maybe I misheard you right now? Were you saying July as an International Fight Week, or was there, or when would you like to?
Yeah, that'd be a dream fight to have International Fight Week for sure. You know, I've always wanted to be a part of International Fight Week, and you know, not just be kind of a spectator. I want to be on the card. You know what I mean? And so, if I could get a fight, then that'd be great. My wife, her birthday's on the 22nd, so there's a card going down that weekend in Greenville, South Carolina. You know, she wants me to get on that one, and that's not too far away from Birmingham, so I wouldn't mind fighting on that. You know, whatever they throw at me, I'm down to do it. You know, I'm just going to stay ready and be prepared whenever they call. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, your stock has definitely gone up. When you're winning, you're icing people, and the couple losses that you've taken, they've been to really some solid fighters. So it looks like right now you're in the midst of a run, and hopefully the next name is a name that's ranked, you know, with you or a little bit higher, and you can continue to keep climbing, my man, because that was a very, very impressive win. You were one of, like, the big stars that came out of that one, you know what I mean, that fight card.
I appreciate that, brother. That means a lot coming from you, man. I really appreciate that. You know, and that's my goal, man. I just kind of want to, like, you know, people to remember me, man. You know, like, I put in a lot of work. I've been through a lot, you know, and I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm ready to take that next step in the, you know, whatever direction that is, you know, as long as it's going up, you know, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. All right. Walt, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Enjoy that burger, and let us know if you're in Vegas. We'd love to have you here in studio. Well, the Jameson ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would love to come in, guys.
All right. Take care, my man. Have a nice evening.
All right, bro. I'll catch y'all later.
All right, you too. See ya. That's the big ticket, Walt Harris. His punches look so much better now. I mean, that finishing sequence was very, very impressive. Not many punches were wasted.
And
he went after him. That's how you go for the finish. I mean, he packs so much punch, too, you know. I know a lot of people sometimes take their foot off the gas because, like Dustin Poirier, remember he actually had hurt Max early in the first round, but then he eventually had to take his foot off the gas because Max has the incredible chin and he just wouldn't go away. But, you know, those heavyweights, I mean, these guys are, a whole 100 pounds heavier. He's 6'5", and I've always been impressed with his athleticism, but now his strikes are just so much straighter and pinpoint. So it was he really, really, for me, took a few steps just in this fight.
He had all the right things to say, and, dude, like I said earlier, man, I felt like he could have knocked out a bear the way he was fighting that night.
Now,
it was ferocious.
What was he having? A 1/3 of a burger? 1/3 pounder? So that's more than a quarter pounder. He's got a third pounder.
Hardee's is Carl's Jr.,
right?
So I think it's the half-pound burger, right, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It's got a name, but it's that one step up where it's a little better.
2 minutes.
Okay. Is it called a 2-minute burger?
Nah.
Oh, I thought somebody said the 2-minute.
Gabby, you've never had Hardee's or Carl's Jr. ever?
No, they're not really in Jersey. I feel like it's not the place to go and eat.
What's the best burger in Jersey?
You've left Jersey, right?
Don't say White Castle
I
either.
live in Jersey.
Yeah, but you've never left Jersey?
No, but I mean, I've just never. I guess because I never tried it. If I see places like that, I never eat it. You know what I mean? I like a Five Guys burger is good.
Yeah, can't go wrong there.
Five Guys is good. Mm-hmm. I never had In-N-Out either, which people say is good.
Oh, yeah, it is
Shake
good.
Shack is good too. I've had that in the city.
It's alright.
But by the way, listeners of the show, if you go on Twitter, Cub Swanson did do what he said he was going to do on our show, and that's take an In-N-Out burger, crumble it up into
a
taco.
tortilla and make a taco out of it.
He did it.
He did it. And I look when he said it, I go, "Oh, that's interesting," because I like tortillas, and I love In-N-Out burgers. But when I looked at it, it didn't look that good. Like it didn't look like yummy. I can't wait to do it now.
I wonder if he liked it or not.
I don't know. That's a good question. By the way, Dana White is very interested in a Burroughs UFC fight. So that's Jordan Burroughs. Jordan Burroughs and Chael Sonnen were messing around on Twitter. Chael offered him $50,000 to fight. Jordan said, add another zero. I think Dana White would pay him $500,000 for one fight. He says he only wants to have one fight, and then that's it.
What did he pay CM Punk?
$500,000.
Jordan wouldn't really bring the eyes that CM Punk did, though, right?
Probably not.
So maybe 4? 4?
I don't know, but this is a different time, too. That was, what, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
20.
All right. 20 years ago? Wow. I thought it was only a shorter time than that. But Ray Cooper III, thank you for your time. Shout out to Greg Savage. Walt Harris, thank you for your time. Shout out to Ed Cap and my man Cesar as well from CFFC. Dave Shawley gets that shout out. We're out of here. Go out there and be a champion.